Hey there everyone, this is Ray Carcillo from Classic Game Room, and today we're going to look at the final part of the remade Alien Breed trilogy, Alien Breed 3 Descent from Team 17. The game picks up right where Chapter 2 left off, where Chief Engineer Conrad has come to the realization that the crazy scientist who spawned the alien creatures that have been attacking him has downloaded his consciousness into the ship's computer and has been actively working against him the entire time. On top of this ghost in the machine named Klein has possessed Conrad's synthetic android assistant Mia and turned her against him. With Klein's ghost ship hurtling out of orbit and towards a desolate ice planet below, Conrad knows his time is limited if he wishes to escape with his life and stop this technological monstrosity. Just like the first two games, you're quickly thrown right into the action, as Conrad is given an assault rifle and a blaster with limitless recharge. And Conrad will need every bullet he can scrounge against the aliens on the ghost ship. Faced with an impressive variety of opponents, Conrad must make his way through hordes of creatures that look so very similar to the movie Alien that you'd almost expect Sigourney Weaver to jump out and help you at some point. From facehuggers that are birthed from pods to aliens that bleed acid, you immediately begin to draw the parallels between this and other series in pop culture as the game goes on. A major difference between this and the first two games, though, is that the ship has become so dilapidated in the attempts by Conrad to stop its crash course that now you have a lot of environmental hazards to contend with, as well as the alien horde. Not to mention most of the lights are out, so you spend most of the game in the dark, and this gives the aliens a distinct advantage and ups the difficulty for this final chapter of the trilogy. To help even the odds though, Conrad will find new experimental weapons on top of the standard rifles and flamethrowers as he progresses towards stopping Klein once and for all. With hundreds of enemies coming at you at once and collectibles scattered about the levels, you won't be blown away if you're looking for something different from the genre it's set in. Plus, with it being a downloadable title, it's only 5 levels long, which should take about 4 hours for you to get through. So it won't feel like too much of a grind, as is the case with most arcade shooters, but you're not getting a tremendous bang for your buck either. The graphics are a little below average compared to what you're used to, but since most of the game is above the ceiling, you only really notice it in a handful of mid-level cutscenes. Also, voice acting during the levels on top of the cutscenes would have been nice, and it made it look like that Team 17, the original developer of the PC version all those years ago, was just cutting corners when it came to getting this remake out there. The controls also needed to work. Using the right joystick to aim, you often aren't sure where you're shooting in the dark until the enemies come right up onto you, even with your laser sight. Couple this with the camera constantly being out of position, and you're more often than not just firing randomly around the levels, hoping to hold the aliens at bay. My most significant problem though with Alien Breed 3 Descent is that this game should have been combined with the 2 previous chapters and just released as a budget title. Especially since then, you could have just charged $40 instead of $30 and gotten some decent voice actors and sharpened up the graphics. Of course, doing it a chapter at a time meant that Team 17 was able to listen to the complaints about the first 2 chapters and come up with and improve the multiplayer that was instituted in the second game. Both a single-player and co-op survival mode that now has 3 distinct breakdowns itself, coupled with a co-op campaign, makes Alien Breed 3 Descent a more solid purchase than your typical arcade shooter, especially if you've already gotten the first 2 chapters, but it isn't revolutionary by any means. But at this point, if you've got the first 2 chapters, you've got to find out what happens to Conrad, don't you? Otherwise, I don't see this as being a must-purchase for the old-school arcade shooter fans out there.